Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And welcome to another amazing show. We have a great lineup for tonight, and our schedule is really filling up for the next 4 weeks, almost to the end of February. We have the next 3 shows fully booked. And the 2 after that are books, except for 1 slot. So if anybody's interested in getting an interview for the month of February, because January is totally gone in terms of being booked, then go to our website, which is on the screen, blackauthors.mattertv.com, and find out how to get your interview. So we a couple of housekeeping notes. The registration for the 2026 National Black Book Festival is open. People are really signing up. And so we should have another really, really good, it'll be jam-packed, probably selling out sooner than we did last year. And also the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards process, that has started. So if you're a children's book author and you want to submit your book to be a finalist, maybe, or a winner, maybe a winner, then go to our website. For that, it's blackauthorsmatterbookawards.com. So before we bring on our first guest, Rhonda, did you want to say anything?
I want to just say, I hope everybody's having a great start of 2026. This has been a great year. Things are starting off awesome for the Black History Month Literary Weekend, and I am really excited. There are a few people who aren't even a part of the event who have already gotten tickets and have secured hotels, and they're coming out, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. So this is going to be a great year. I'm just really looking forward to the great things that are coming, and our schedules are filling up. We have a few events that we're going to be at. We have the Texas the Texas Book Fair that's coming up, and we're also going to be at the National Book Club Conference again.
We're doing both of those again. So, and Rhonda was supposed to be at the Texas Book Festival last year, but she wasn't able to attend. So this will be her first year. It's really good. It's very, very lots and lots and lots and lots of people. So we're going to bring on our first guest. She's no stranger to the show, but she has a brand new book. And today, I believe, is book release day. And her name is Tameka Fryer Brown. Today is book release day, correct?
It is. It's launch day.
Yay! So welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. And congratulations on another book. And this one, I see it behind you, but do you have one that you can show on the screen?
I do, right here. It's called Prayer Is.
Prayer Is. Yeah, it's beautiful. We can see it, a really good shot.
Yes. Thank you. And it's illustrated by Eliana Harris, who did All the Greatness in You.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Another beautiful book. Yes.
Beautifully done. The cover is beautifully done. Yeah. Now, I don't think your other books have a religious or faith-based theme. So what made you decide to go in this direction?
Well, actually, this is a project that interestingly was brought to me. And the story is I was at a launch event for somebody else, a local author. And one of the people that I know, her name is Kelly Dykstra-House, and we've known each other for like 20 years. We both started like in a critique group together. Now she's a literary agent. But we were both at this event, and she came to me, she's like, You got books with Joy Peskin, my editor, one of my editors. And I was like, yeah. She was like, has she talked to you about a book about prayer? And I was like, no. And she said, because I was talking to her and she's interested in one. And I presented it to one of my clients and it wasn't the right fit for her. But, so I wanted to share it with you and see if you were interested. And I was like, yes, ma'am, I am interested. And so then I messaged Joy and I was like, a little birdie told me that you were interested in a book about prayer. Are you still in the market for that? And she was like, yes, I am. And so that is how I ended up writing this book.
So it's
Well,
always people to know people in your corner, to be in
yeah,
the right place at the right
that's
time,
what I was
and the
gonna say.
people who are going to mention your name in rooms that you're not even in at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always say that the act of writing is a solitary one, but in this business, we need each other. We need other people, like you said, to be advocating for us. And then we need to do that in turn for other people, right? To pay that forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And a lot of times just being connected with the right person when the right opportunity opens up
Absolutely.
is that's I mean, you can get all kinds of opportunities that way.
Mhm.
Um, just on something that happened to us that was just like random. Uh, it's been years ago when we were in Ebony magazine, but the way we got in Ebony was when we had first launched Kush City. Uh, I went to the Black Internet Conference, and it's a lady in Chicago named Yvette Moyo that used to put it on when all the tech stuff was taking off, when the internet was taking off, and Ebony was based. Johnson Publishing was based in Chicago,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
she contacted us and said that they were doing a story on people in tech, Black people in tech. They didn't have a woman. And my husband and I worked together. So I was the woman, and the deadline was like 2 or 3 days. They had to find somebody within a short period of time. So that was how we ended up getting in Evan.
Hmm.
This is who you know, and having a good relationship and having a good reputation is
Hmm.
important too.
Yeah. And being prepared, staying ready,
Yes,
staying ready. Yeah.
yes. Because she wouldn't have recommended you if you weren't already in the space doing things. And even though your books are not technically faith based, but they are very intentional, almost personal
Hmm.
as far as children are concerned.
Absolutely. I
Believing in
always
yourself and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Like I always, I've come to realize that I'm approaching my work as a mom. Like I think I kind of ran away from that label or moniker, whatever, for a while. But I was like, you know what? This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to plant seeds, sow seeds in the hearts of kids of pride, self-love, inclusion, all those things. And so, yeah, I'm coming at it with that love. And also when you're talking about faith-based, this is my first completely faith-based book, but if you read my books, there's always somebody saying grace. There's always, little
Mhm,
things like that that kind of
mhm,
indicate. And in this last book, All the Greatness in You, Aliana shows her faith-based because she illustrated like the little boy singing in the choir, the church choir. And
mhm,
so yeah.
mhm.
Mm,
So that's what I was saying. It's in there.
yeah.
It's just not in the title necessarily,
Yeah.
where the whole book is about that. But
Well, I think another good thing about it is that even though you weren't writing faith-based books, the fact that you stick with your brand and your brand stays clean, so to speak.
For
That
sure.
it's not a far-fetched thing for you to move into this space. It's not like you were writing something that's like a total 180 to where people would be shocked that you
Right.
write something like this.
Oh, absolutely. And if you follow me on social media, you can see how much my spirituality kind of just is
Right.
part of my life, who I am too. So yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, you weren't writing like fantasy or like horror, and then
No.
going to prayer is. So that's really good. So tell us a little bit about the content in the book.
Yeah, so I think the title kind of gives it away. It's about prayer, but it's about all the different things that prayer is, beyond just petition and asking for stuff. And it's about how we can use it, or kids can use it, or adults too. I'm a firm believer picture books are for everybody, but I'll say about how kids can use it on a day-to-day basis to kind of just help them get through life and be better people, to show gratitude, to show concern for other people besides just themselves, and to get through challenging times. And this is what makes it a really timely book right now, because we're all kind of going through some challenging times. And of course, it's about how to grow closer to God as well. So, and it is a children's book. It's spare
Mhm.
text, but when you're reading the text, these concepts are what should come through.
So what's the age range for the book? What's the
4 to
target?
8.
4 to 8.
Yep,
Okay.
4 to 8. Yep,
Okay.
and you can see it's just typical picture book with light. I don't know if you can see this light
Mhm.
text on the
Yeah, we
page
see
and
really well.
whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah, so yep. Family, intergenerational, a lot of family oriented illustrations, and like I said, Eliana did such a great job. She's in the grandparents' house. You know how when your grandma always got the curio with the little figurines and the angels, and then she got that in there. There's a lot of culture
The
rich stuff
grandma
in
and
the
I have
illustrations.
that.
Oh, yeah, you
Well,
experience
I
it?
don't. I'm getting ready to be a grandma, and I don't have a curio. So it was,
Oh, you got to get a curio.
I mean,
The little
I,
angels and
yeah,
stuff.
I don't need one for what I have. I have
Right.
store. I have lots of kitchen storage. So, but anyway, I get it. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's some traditional things that
Hmm.
are in a lot of people's homes,
Yeah.
and a lot of those aren't as popular now as they used to be.
Yeah. No,
Um,
not really. Unless you
sometimes,
pass them down or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of times the younger people don't
No.
necessarily even want them. My sister had some things she was trying to pass on to her daughters who were married, and they didn't want them. She had some china, and and some things, and I did too. I don't know, I have some really good china. I don't know, but I guess once we're gone, they have an estate sale, and people just pick through whatever's left. I don't know. Anyway, which book is this for you, Tameka?
This one is number 8. All
Okay.
picture books, yes.
Oh, okay. They're all picture books. It
Hmm.
seems like you started like right when we started the show.
I
Like,
did. Well, actually,
or you
I
might
think
have
my
been a little bit before, but
yeah, a little bit before, but my first time with you, I think we were talking about Brown Baby Lullaby.
yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
was my third book.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
And so what would you say is the signature? What's Tameka's signature in her books?
Um, from a
What's
writing,
in all of Tameka's books? Like when somebody picks up one of your books, they
mhm,
know they're going to get what?
lyrical language,
Okay.
cultural um, details, representation, um, could be in rhyme, it could not be in rhyme, authenticity, cultural authenticity. Um, and like I said, trying to pour something positive into kids, and an emotional truth. All that stuff. When I'm writing, I'm really trying to make sure that what I'm putting on the page is emotionally true for kids in particular. So yeah. But lyrical language, if somebody else were to actually, you know what? I did a talk for some folks, and in preparation for that talk, I did a survey of people and asked them what they thought my brand was. And then I did a
All
Wordle of all the responses, and one of the big things was authenticity, and
Okay.
then language, lyrical rhyme, and that kind of a thing. Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
that is a very important thing to do every once in a while, because sometimes what you think your brand is not what your followers think your brand is. And you can tell because sometimes people really want to help and they'll send you clients who are totally not right for you because they don't understand what you do. So that's really amazing that you had that much forethought to do something like that. To ask people, what do you think my brand is? Were you surprised at the results?
You know, if I was surprised at anything, it was how many people said the same things. In particular about authenticity.
Did you
Because I
give
try to be.
them choices, or was it a fill in the blank? Was it multiple choice where they
No,
checked off something, or was
no,
it
it
open
definitely
ended where they picked
it was
whatever?
open ended. I'm trying to figure
Okay.
out just exactly how it might have been just like, when you think about me as an author, like what do you think about? Like, what comes to mind? And then they just put out all these different words. And then when I
Okay.
took the words and I put them in the Wordle, authenticity was one of the ones that came up a lot. So,
Okay. Now I think about warmth, and your books to me are like a hug, like hugging a child.
well,
That's that's the
I
feeling that I
appreciate
get.
that. I want that
I
too.
love
That's a
that.
goal too. Yeah, yeah. So,
So, but that is interesting. You sometimes now it's also kind of brave because you don't know what people might say.
yeah.
You know,
It's very brave.
kind.
Well, I didn't put it out like on
You you didn't put it out for open.
no,
You sent it to a few
yeah,
friends.
I didn't put it on my Facebook page. The people were there. They kind of know me.
You ask
Um,
people you can trust.
yeah, yeah. Well, whoever commented on. I do have a lot of people on my Facebook that I don't know who they are so. I don't know how I accepted them as friends, probably because they were friends of friends back in the day. I'm a lot more judicious about who I accept now, but
Yeah,
yeah,
me too. If we don't have a good number of mutual friends,
yeah.
I mean a good number, and.
I used to have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I was accepting everybody, but my Facebook got the H word about 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And after that, I started to rebuild my friends list and I stopped accepting like random requests. And so
Hmm.
now if we don't have a certain number of friends in common, or if I go to your page and I don't see a whole lot of comments or posts, I
Right,
won't accept the request because I'm like, I'm not letting that happen to me again.
right, exactly.
Yeah, and then too, some people, because I'm close to 5,000. I leave like 100 or so, just like for if
For
I
new
meet new
people.
people.
Yeah.
But some people, like, they haven't posted anything on their page in 2 years or whatever. I'm
Mhm.
like, why do you want to be friends?
Right, right. You can clear that
You're
space
not
out for somebody else.
active. you know, and not everybody's gonna be daily or even weekly, but when you haven't posted in 2 years, that's really,
Mhm.
and it's not for
Although
everybody.
you could be like my one of my daughters. She really doesn't post on Facebook at all. She
Mhm.
keeps up with what everybody else is doing. So
Well, these are mature people that are just not, because my
Hmm.
daughter doesn't, I have to tag her for her to even go on Facebook.
yeah,
I have to
My
tag.
daughter is. The 20 somethings just don't get on anymore. I
yeah,
don't
they
even
don't.
bother.
They're
I don't
super
even
happy.
bother targeting them in my Facebook ads because
Mhm.
they're not gonna watch.
Mm-mm. You're right.
No, no. I do when I do ads, I do fans and friends. So it's the people who see your page, not my personal one, but this is for the
Mhm.
business one. It's people who are followers and then friends of the followers, which means theoretically they
Mhm.
might have some commonalities.
Mhm.
Because with the National Black Book Festival, I really don't want it to get too far afield because I end up with comments like, when is the National White Book Festival?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Or
you saw I got that recently.
Mhm.
I
no,
post I
I
posted that to my page. Somebody said that about my event.
at your event, yeah. Or when is White History Month? I get that. Or this is racist. Or from the other side, like opposite, we're too bougie. We're not on the black side.
Mhm.
We're not bougie, but I
I'm
get
bougie.
we're not
I don't apologize for that.
well,
I'm
well, we have standards. That's what, and if people call that bougie, so be it. Because there's certain things I'm not gonna do ever, on any platform or anything. I'm not gonna do it for clicks or views or any of that. Followers. I mean, that's not. It's gonna stay professional all the time. And
Mhm.
so, because there's a lane for the professional.
Mhm. Absolutely.
well, Tameka, you're in this children's space now.
Mhm.
You gonna stay in the space?
For the foreseeable future, yes. However, I do have plans to tap into a different genre.
Oh,
Middle grade. I've been trying to get to this middle grade, finish this middle grade for forever. But every time I really start to get into it, another idea for a picture book pops into my head. So I gotta get like 100% focused. Right now, I got like two picture books I'm supposed to finish, and then I'm gonna work on this middle grade. But yeah, so I do have hopes to work on longer form work, which is very new and very different. Sometimes feels daunting, but I'm up for the challenge. I'm ready for it.
Okay. Do you have a particular theme, like subject matter that you're
For
interested
that
in for the
particular
middle
book,
grade, for the middle graders?
I have an idea. I have a nice little summer chapters. Well, yeah, kind of chapter summary outline for it. It has some magical realism in it, but contemporary. Not heavy, heavy like fantasy or anything. Just touches of
Mhm.
magical realism, and yeah. So I've had this. It was started out as a picture book, and that same critique group I was telling you about a long time ago. And for reasons, it never did, become a picture book. But everybody who's read it, like they'll ask me from time to time, years later, "What'd you ever do with that book about X?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna make it a middle grade," and they were like, "Okay," because I think it's gonna be really good, and I liked it as a picture book, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's got, and I did a first chapter. I sent it to my agent, and she was like, "Wow, yes." Because I was like, "Do you think this has legs?" And she was like, "Yes." Wow, keep going. So now I just got to keep
Okay.
going. Hmm.
Okay. So you do have an agent. Have you had
Uh,
one from the beginning?
well, yes. Well, my agent, my first agent, and this is my second agent. My first agent sold my first book. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well, your books are always very, very beautifully illustrated.
Yeah.
And so whoever illustrates any of your books, it's just beautiful. I just think it's warm. It's like a hug. And
Yeah.
that's
and you mentioned her. Does she illustrate all of your books?
Aliana, no. So she is the only time I've had one illustrator do more than one book. So we've done two books together, and I hope we get to do more. But for all my other books, each one of them is illustrated by a different person. And
oh,
I've had like three or four publishers that I've worked with. And my next book coming out in 2027 is with a different publisher, Candlewick, and I'll be having a different illustrator with that one as well. So
Okay, so
yeah, but
you have some diversity going on.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
so
Um,
did they decide who the illustrators were going to be, or did you have any input? Did they give you some options? How does that work exactly?
well, it works differently now than it did at the beginning. At the very beginning, they told me like who the illustrator was going to be. In these last several books, I had, conversation, weighed in on it. And this next book, I actually found the illustrator and we submitted as a team.
How do
Um,
you normally find your illustrators?
well, I normally don't. I they kind of like give me feedback, but for this one, it's called More Than Enough, and it's heavily influenced or inspired by my growing up in Miami.
Hmm.
And so, I think it may have been my agent who mentioned it. I was like, yeah, or maybe I did. I don't know. But I wanted to have an illustrator that was from Miami if possible, or South Florida. So to get that vibe. And it took me a while. I mean, I was Googling, I was going into groups asking, and nobody really knew somebody who illustrated children's books from South Florida. And then how did I stumble upon her? I don't know. It was online or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. She's from South Florida. And so we reached out to her with the manuscript. She liked it. We submitted it as a package, and that book ended up going to auction.
Nice,
And
nice.
Oh,
yeah, so that's
so
pretty.
what happens at auction? I know somebody's told me before, but just to refresh my memory and for the audience if they don't
Mhm.
know what happens if something goes to auction.
Okay, so we submitted the book to multiple houses and we had lots of interest. And so then it's like, okay, we got lots of interest. We're going to set up an auction. And there's different parameters that, the agent gives all the editors, and then they come back with their best offer. And it'll include, the advance amount. It'll include other rights, details, and things that they're offering, what they're asking for, what they're willing to let you keep, just their best offer. And then some of them give you. I love the ones that gave the marketing plan and just some more information about that. And we had some marketing plans. We had some letters of why the editors were really into this book and wanted to acquire it. So then you take all that information and you figure out who you want to go with. And it's
Oh,
Amazing.
not
that's
That
often.
good.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
makes you feel good because so many
it
people
does.
just want you.
Yeah.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
and then you have more choices and you end up with more, I'm sure, financially,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the process than you would if it
Absolutely.
wasn't an auction. Yeah.
Absolutely. And can I say this little interesting point? I don't know if I should say it, but I already started.
Spill the
Um,
beans.
I submitted this book before this auction process. I submitted it to some editors, and none of them could see the vision for it. Like none of them.
Wow.
I changed the title. That's all I changed.
The
It
only
went to
thing you
auction.
changed was the title, and
That's
everybody saw it.
yes. That
Interesting.
blew my mind. But
Titles are important. I mean,
and,
that's
and
the
they don't even
hook.
always stay the same. Like, more than half of my titles, that I publish different, but I guess it's just to help them see the vision. So
Yeah,
I thought that was an interesting thing.
the
Oh no,
title is
that's
good.
very interesting.
It is.
And it says a lot that you believe so much in your project and your vision that you knew you needed to hold on to it because you could have just trashed the whole thing and
Mhm,
started over.
mhm.
But what was it about the project that you said you needed to hold on to it and all you changed was the title?
I just thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It meant something to me. It made me feel something. I think if it made me feel something that strongly, I was convinced that it was going to translate and make others feel something. And it's not like we got bad feedback on it. It was like, I just don't know what to do with this, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And so I just believed in it. And then I think also what happened what helped in addition to changing the title is we went ahead and found an illustrator that we thought the vibe was good. We submitted some of her sample work with it as well, so they could really get the vision. And so yeah,
Okay. Well, and that's a lesson to people. One, not to give up,
yes,
but sometimes you have to regroup, reform.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
this is football season, and sometimes it's like that. If one play doesn't work, they get in the huddle and then come out with another play. My team is playing on Saturday. Anyway,
Wow. Congratulations.
home field
Mine is out.
advantage. Seattle Seahawks, go Hawks.
Congratulations.
So anyway,
My
so
team is playing next year.
Right, same.
but
Well,
they had a run for a while. Different teams have a run for a while,
yeah.
and then it's another team's turn. So anyway, Tameka, show us the book cover one more time for Prayer
Yes.
Is. And it's just
Okay.
released today. Beautiful
Yay.
cover for children ages 4 to 8.
Mhm.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Have a great night, and hope your tour that you're doing for the new book is a resounding success.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Have a good night.
You
Thank you.
too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So that was funny, Rhonda. Playing next year. But I switched teams about 12 years ago just because the Cowboys, I got sick of them not winning anymore since
I'm
Aikman.
glad
That's the
Dedrick's
last
not here to.
time
I'm
they
glad
were
he's not here
winning.
to hear you say that. Dedrick is a
They,
staunch
they
Cowboy
have
fan.
Aikman was the last time they went to the championship. And I got tired of waiting and waiting and then riding on their past exploits. But they are still like the most successful team in terms of merch and I think value. But I moved on. And I moved on to the Seahawks. So anyway, our next guest this is her first time on the show, Shelia Goss, and she has a new book out as well. And I didn't realize she had as many books as she does. A lot of times people are laboring in the vineyards and you just don't know how much writing they're doing
Mm-hmm.
until they come on the show and tell you they have a whole bunch of books. And I'm working on my next book. I had to switch gears, Rhonda, from what I was going to do. So I'm doing something
I'm not.
different.
I'm not touching a book until after Black History Month.
Okay. Okay. Well, you had a book, though. You had your novella.
I know, but I'm.
Man,
It's time to. I want to write another book, but I can't concentrate on another book
I know
until
you
after
can't.
Black History
Yeah.
Month. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like I have to finish mine by like July at least and have it done because once the festival stuff kicks in, my brain is,
Mm-hmm.
can't can't concentrate. So anyway, Shelia, you came on the screen and welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me.
I
Can
was
you hear me
telling our
okay?
audience, oh yeah, perfectly clear. I was telling our audience this is your first time on the show. And you have a new book out, which is book 1 of a series, and we can see it on the screen.
I love the title.
Worth the
Thank
risk.
you.
It's a good title, good hook. And I was reading in your bio about how many books you've had. Now we've never met, I don't think, but we've been connected for many years. If we have met, tell me. But I don't think we have.
We
Um,
haven't met in person,
in
just
person.
virtually, but I
Okay,
feel
good.
like I know you though.
I know. We've been
Well, you've been
connecting for
around for a while,
long.
Gwen. So, a lot of people feel like we knew you before we actually have really met you face to face. But Sheila and I were in back before social media was a huge thing. We met each other through the listservs. I've mentioned the listservs a few
Yeah.
times
Hmm.
on this show back when there was the chocolate pages and all those different email listservs. That's how Sheila and I met each other, I believe. And then
That's correct.
actually, yeah. And then
Hmm.
actually she was a part of my Black History Month literary weekend in 2020. The last time it was in New Orleans before I moved it to DC, she was one of my featured authors.
Oh, okay. Well, you mentioned those listservs, and I guess because at the time we started Kush City, I wasn't an author. So I wasn't tied into the author stuff. I was on the book selling side of things. And so, because my first book didn't come out to 2007. So whatever was going on, the listservs I was on was more on the tech side of things, the black tech groups and that kind of thing. I wasn't really tied into the author listservs, although I knew about the books because we were tied into the publishers because we had the store. So, and the website. So anyway, Sheila, when did you first come out with your first book?
Oh, I want to say probably about 2003, 4. I started off self-published.
Okay. And that was back when self-publishing was like you were in what is it, like boot camp. It wasn't
Yes,
like it is now.
definitely. But you know what? Back then, a lot of authors that I met, they were very friendly, and they shared whatever knowledge they had with me, and that actually helped.
Okay, so are you writing only fiction, and what kind of fiction?
Well, right now I'm doing fiction. I'm also doing songwriting. I'm working with a couple of artists right now. Hopefully, they'll have something being released in a couple of months.
Did you say
And I'm also,
songwriting?
yes, I used to write songs when I was in high school, me and my best friend. You know how as little girls, normally you pass notes between each other about boys. Well, we were writing songs. So.
Oh,
But yes, so I know I know at this late age I'm able to kind of live out that dream now.
well, we can always use some good songs, and I say I don't like the current songs, the contemporary most of them, because I don't want to be cussed at when I'm listening to music. So, but there
Same
are
here. So
there
I'm
are
doing
some
R and
good things.
B.
Yeah, I do not
Exactly.
want to be cussed at. So if it's cussing in your song, I'm not likely to listen to
Oh no, oh
it.
no! Look, it's grown folks music. I call it Southern Soul
Yeah,
grown folks music.
yeah, real stuff. I tell my daughter the difference, and she said, when I say, we had the best music, but she said, well, they have good stuff. I said, here's the difference. In the studio, they had a whole band in there. So that was the difference in real music. There was a band in the studio, not just a keyboard with dials and the computer and a beat where you go just do one beat over and over. It was a whole band. So orchestra in some cases. So it was just you can't do that now. I don't even know if they would even let you do it now, but
I know, and we're still listening to that music today,
oh
so
yeah,
that
oh
lets
I
you
We
know
listen.
how good
are.
that music was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how timeless it was. If you
yeah.
play that song, if you play that music right now, people would get up and dance to it, even the young
Sure
people.
would.
Yeah, and a lot of the music now is sampling that music, is rapping over that music or singing over the music and changing it to something else. So anyway, but the songs that you've written, have you had any that we would know about, like that we could pull up on YouTube?
Well, I have a couple that I just put out as they're pretty much demos. So if you go under actually on my website, SheilaGoss.com, and then go to music and licensing on my page off my website, you'll be able to listen to a few samples there.
It's
Oh
amazing. I mean, as long as I've known you, I
wow.
did not know that about you. So I guess that's the great thing about this show is we get to learn a little something new about each other.
Yes,
Yeah,
You've
that's
that's
been
always been a
amazing.
passion of mine.
I love that.
now, do you sing or just write the songs?
I just write. I'm not a singer. I wish I could sing. Well, I wish. I'm one of those
but
shower singers, okay?
but the money is in the music in the songwriting, so that's
That is
okay.
true. That's true.
That's true.
Money is in the songwriting. So you have a new series with women in Hollywood, and so this is book one. We can see it on the screen. So worth the risk. and I saw that there are going to be 3 books. So, are the women in all 3 books connected, or is just the theme of women in Hollywood the thread that ties the 3 books together?
They all kind of like in the publishing world, even if they're not friends, they know of each other.
Okay.
So some of the stories were kind of intertwined. So if you, the first story is about Charlotte. She's a manager to the stars, and she ends up with this R&B singer who's, I'm trying to see who would people compare him to today. I'll just put it like he's like probably like the Denzel Washington of R&B, you know,
Okay.
for
Okay. Okay.
so he's like the heartthrob or Usher or someone, you know, like that. So in each book,
Sheila,
the
you
young
did not say Ursher. I heard you.
I heard it too. I wasn't going to say it.
well, so ladies and all the ladies they work behind the scenes because everybody knows about the actors, you know, and they're always up front, or the singers, they're always up front. But as we know as writers, in order for you to have a movie, in order for you to have a song, there are people that work behind the scenes. You have your managers, you have your writers, your producers, etc. So in each book, the women work behind the scenes, and they may or may not be with somebody that's in front of the camera or out in the public. Another reason why I wrote the series is because we are, as a culture, are fascinated with celebrities, but people fail to realize they're just like you and I. Back before social media, I was a entertainment writer, so I got a chance to interview different celebrities from different walks of life, and that made me realize, you know what? All this time, because you know, growing up as a teenage girl, I know I had my little crush on New Edition. I don't know about other people. I had New
Oh, we
Edition,
all
Prince,
did.
Michael Jackson, you know, and it was, you know, childhood crush. But as I got older and got a chance to venture off into being like an entertainment writer, I got to see celebrities in a whole different light, and that actually inspired the book series. So I wanted to just show people that they feel like we do. They fall in love, fall out of love. The only difference is everybody sees it, and I know it has to be hard to go through a breakup because I've gone through a breakup in private, and it was, you know, almost, well, I felt like devastating at the time, you know. So imagine having to go through that in the public side, and then of course we could be super critical,
Yep.
you know. So that was one
Yeah,
of my
nothing
my
is a secret anymore. That was one thing we
I
didn't really
know
know a lot about the personal lives of like entertainers. It was more about their music.
it was I don't part of me wish we could go back to that era, you know. A part of me wish we could go back there. And then when I was an entertainment writer, that's when I was, you know, basically people really relied on writers to give them more information about the people that they liked. But
Okay.
now with social media, I mean,
Hmm.
there's still entertainment writers because we, you know, we have all the blogs out there and, you know, Twitter, well, not Twitter, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm aging myself. But, you know, with Facebook, TikTok, and everything. There's really there's going to always be need for writers, but fans have access to the celebrities that they like, so it makes it harder for writers to really kind of make a living. So they have to find their little niche of what, you know, what is their area of expertise. For me, I write fiction, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to use my platform to write fiction to kind of bring awareness to celebrities. So.
Okay, so the first book, Worth the Risk, uh, what's the character's name again that you mentioned?
Charlotte, she's the
Charlotte. Okay.
manager to the stars, and then she's with Sean Maxwell, who's an R&B heartthrob. So
So is it a romance? Is she romantically involved with with him, or is it a client, or is it a start off as a client and then ends up being a romance?
It
Or
starts up.
does it give spoilers? So we don't want to do spoilers, but just
Well,
tell us what.
it's a romance. I mean, because I'm in the romance genre, so we know
Okay,
they're going to get together somehow.
okay, all
and
right.
and it's
It's
kind of
not
like
the
that
type of
forbidden love.
romance. It's not the type of romance that fits that formula. It's not like a Harlequin type romance.
No, it's I like drama.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I like drama, and I like I kind of write as if I'm watching a movie. That's how I like to write as well. So it would be more. I don't know if you've seen some of the Terry McMillan movies that have come on Lifetime.
Yeah, I've
Some of
noticed it.
her,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So kind of like it's like a visual. Even though it's in written format, I dream my books. So when I'm writing, I can see everything that's happening.
interesting. I think well, I saw everybody sing Waiting to Exhale, of course. Um, and then I saw Disappearing Acts. And then what's the How Stella Got a Groove Back. Have there been any other ones?
Yeah, she has a
Well,
few. I can't remember the titles right now, but she
right.
has.
Okay.
Yeah, it's some newer stories.
On
Mhm.
Lifetime. See, I
Yes.
don't even know if I even have Lifetime on or if I do, I don't watch Lifetime.
And then there's also some by Mary J. Blige. They've made some movies out based on some of her songs. So it's kind of
Oh,
yeah, similar to that, but it's more about a forbidden love because I mean, we don't want to. I mean, we all have clients, so um, you don't want to cross the line. There's a boundary there between you and your client, and so she's trying not to cross the line. And of course, it's a romance, so she does.
yeah.
Of course. Of course.
So, and then her life becomes complicated.
It becomes complicated because his life becomes complicated because there's scandal, and as a manager, her and her team, they have to basically, try to clean up the mess.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one thing about social media. That's if you're like a high profile person or a famous person, celebrity or whatever, your mistakes are so public. You know, before social media, your mistakes you could still keep them private,
Right.
but with social media, if one person knows, then the whole world knows.
Then the whole world knows, and then they put their own
Is this
twist to it, and
everywhere?
it may or may not be true. And next thing you
Right.
know, you got
Yeah.
a firestorm, and then that's where you have your manager, your
Because I'm
publicist.
gonna tell you, if I hear one more thing about Jamal Brand's wife's dress, I'm gonna scream. I don't care about the
It's so now well, I'll just say this part about it. There are so many people getting clicks off of that whole situation. Taking a different angle, having an opinion, showing clips of it, talking to people about what they think about it. That's some people
well,
monetized it.
well,
That's
that's
what,
the but no, you hit the nail on the head because celebrity drama, celebrity mistakes,
Mhm.
celebrity troubles gets regular people clicks. The
Yeah,
more you comment on celebrities' troubles, the more clicks you get, the more money you
yeah.
make.
It's all
So
monetized.
you have to live your mistakes over and over and over again in the media. And it's so sad, really, when you think about it,
And it's
because
frustrating.
a private person can sometimes hide their mistake and or they can suffer privately. But a public figure does not have that same luxury.
Yeah, and it's so many people making money off of celebrities' mistakes. I mean, it's so many people monetizing people's pain. I just, you know, I wouldn't want to try to sit around and do that, but that's the world we're in now. I don't know where it's going to go because with AI, people can actually put you in a situation and put you in a place where you actually weren't even there.
I know, and I've been learning how to use AI to help with my promotions in the last couple of years, and I have seen since just 2 years ago how advanced AI has become. And I know
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember like the National Enquirer and things
Yeah.
of that
Oh
nature,
yeah.
and how they used to make fake stuff, and you could tell it was fake.
But
But now
now
I
you
see
can't tell
stuff.
it's fake.
I don't know if it's real or not. I have to actually like watch it a few times and kind of blow the picture up just to see. And it's so if I was a celebrity, that'd be kind of frightening because you could put them in compromising positions that
Mhm.
could really ruin their lives.
And it's
Uh,
very easy to do because
mhm.
we had our brunch. I have a brunch at my house for Christmas every year for the management team for the festival and in our book club. And we always take a group picture. Well, Mary, who you know, Rhonda, Mary is our tech like guru person. You know, every team has different people who are good at different things or do different things. Mary's a tech person. So she put the picture up and she sent it to us. Then she did something with AI and she had us wearing different clothes. She had us on a snow bank behind us. She had other people in the picture that weren't even there that we didn't even know. I said, where did you get these people? So, and she said the program did it. She didn't even do it. I don't know what button you push or what you click to make it do all those different things, but that is kind of scary because
It is.
we somebody could have said that we were somewhere we weren't. That's the problem I have with. I don't know where it's going. Um, it's not to a good place for them.
Well, Sheila,
I think it's
does your
scary.
character in Worth the Risk, do they go through some of these issues as well with AI and so forth?
No, I didn't touch any of that in the book, but that's actually a good idea for one of the future books because it
Mhm.
is
Yes.
it is basically becoming a problem. I've noticed a couple people mention that that whatever picture that got out, that wasn't really them, or they weren't at that location.
Hmm.
And like I said, it can mess up people's relationships. It can
Mm-hmm.
start messing up their money because they
Yes.
still have to try to keep a certain image. I think it was an actor just happened today or yesterday where he was supposed to be on the episode of Law and Order SVU, but he did some inappropriate things, and they pulled that episode that was supposed to air this week because of
Wow.
it. Yeah.
Hmm. Now, I mentioned AI in my last novel, just that the person used AI to make it seem like somebody was somewhere they weren't. So, and that book came out 2 years ago. So I was aware of what you could do with it. Although I use it sparingly, mostly for research, but I see some really incredible things that people are doing with it online that make it really look real. Uh, some of these baby videos where they had the baby, they have, well, they had a, Archie Bunker baby thing. They had good times and they turned them into babies, and
Yeah, I
then they
saw that.
do a whole skit with the script and everything. It's some really it's
I
some very
have
creative
I have a
people.
I have an AI baby that I've been trying to decide what type of content I want to use with it and haven't figured out yet. So the baby's just been sitting on my desktop trying to waiting for me to make some content with it. I'm gonna make some content with it. I just don't know what
Okay,
yet.
I just don't know what yet. I
Yeah.
don't know
I'm gonna
if I'm
shock
gonna
y'all.
get into it that heavily. I don't know. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not because I don't know. But it is good for research, but you still have to uh follow up. And I tell people when they see things online, you can't assume they're true. You need to check 4 or 5 sources of credible is in, but you need to verify things before you start sharing them as factual.
And you know
Just
what? Even then, I've gone to some credible sources, and then come to find out the information is
they're
still
not well,
wrong.
that's why I put that's why You need to do, it needs to be more than one. It needs to be like 3 or 4 places. That's the only
Yes.
thing you can do really to try to make sure that you're not falling for just stuff. We have I don't know if you all are familiar with Bucky's. Have you ever heard of Bucky's?
Oh, I
Yes, I
love
love
Bucky's.
Bucky.
I didn't know y'all know about Bucky's. It's a
I just
Texas
recently found
treasure.
out that Bucky's was black owned. I hope
No,
that
it's
wasn't an
not.
AI
That was
video.
AI. That was
That
AI.
was AI. I thought
No,
that was real. I never bothered to look it up because I thought it was a real article. See,
no.
they didn't got me.
Yeah,
I
see,
got to, because I thought
no,
so too.
Bucky's is
I
not.
see
Bucky's is not. It
there.
would be nice if it was, but no,
Right.
Bucky's is not. It's a Texas. It
Well,
was a
is the amount
family
that they pay
started it.
people, is that real? Because I heard they pay pretty
They
well.
pay very well. They pay very
Yeah,
well.
now
Okay.
that part I know is real because I
Yeah.
know a couple people that worked there and they were like, I'm like, wow, this is better than working in the office.
They pay well and they have good benefits, but it wasn't started by a black man, and it was now
Oh.
Sears Roebuck was a black man. If y'all know about
No,
Sears and
no, I
Roebuck
didn't know
Funeral,
that.
you did not, or you
I
did?
did not know that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
Roebuck was black. That's
Oh.
mhm, he was black, but not Bucky's. Bucky's is black. It's a Texas treasure, though. I tell people
I love it.
now they're moving it. They're putting it in different states now. They just I know they're building one in Mebane, North Carolina, which is near where my sister is. And I took her to her first Bucky's when we went on a road trip to California. On the way back, we went to Bucky's, and my husband and I kept saying you gotta go to Bucky's before you leave. So because they live in North Carolina, but they flew to Texas. We went on a road trip to California, and then we drove back. So they kept saying, "What is this Bucky's you keep talking about?" And I said, "Wait till you see it." So when we took them, they couldn't believe it. It's amazing. It's an amazing establishment,
It
and
really is. If anybody goes, because I go to the one in Terrell, right outside of Dallas, every time I go to Dallas,
I think
and I'm
that's the
supposed,
one we went to on the
I
way
love it.
back from California.
Oh,
Yeah, it was, but they're all the big ones are all the same. It's the same layout and everything.
we're getting one in Louisiana too. It's going to be like outside of Shreveport, though. It's going to be in Ruston.
Okay, well, that's on your home area, Rhonda. So anyway, let's get
Yeah.
back to the women in Hollywood. So maybe you can work that AI into that would be good. I haven't read any books where that was like a central thing yet. I'm sure they're coming, but that would be something to write a story around. That would be an interesting central thing.
Yeah, we also writer Natasha Williams. She's writing. She actually has a whole series. The young lady falls in love with the AI bot.
Oh,
Yes, and she's actually one of the few black women that she knows how to she's on the programming side of AI versus because like
okay.
I use it for creative stuff, making marketing materials. She's the one that can write how to do that, and
Hmm.
everything. So yeah,
Okay.
so
Oh.
she said she's going to write a book about that, and I thought she did a book cover, a mock book cover of it. So it's going to be interesting to see once she finishes the story.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like that would be weird to me. I don't know if I want to read about that, but I think
But
that's
she
how does that happen? How does a person do that? That is,
she said there's some
they have to
people
be
out
really
there.
lonely.
Yeah, there are people out there that actually fall in love with people that don't with this
Yeah,
AI stuff.
I've heard about it. I've heard about it. I can't relate to it. I just
I can't either.
would have to be very lonely. This and I've never been that long.
Oh,
I've
I
heard of
don't ever
people
want to get
falling
that
in
lonely.
I've heard of people falling in love with blow up dolls, so let them fall in love with a computer.
Yeah, but the blow up doll can't respond. It's
Exactly. The blow up doll can't respond, but the computer can respond. That's why
yeah.
they fell in love with the computer.
At least it'll be a two-way conversation, huh?
I guess we'll just have to stay tuned to where this all.
Yeah, I'm all for love. I love love, but I want love between humans.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what can the bot do for you? Like, in terms of intimacy, where does that come in? I don't get it.
I don't even want to go
See,
there.
now you're getting personal with the people. I don't know what they do. I got a full-blooded human. I don't know
Yeah,
what them
I,
people
I,
are doing.
I can't relate. So anyway, Sheila, your book, we've been able to see your cover, and it's very exciting that you got this series. Is this your first series?
No, I've actually done, actually, the Women in Hollywood. Oh, it took years and years ago when I was with Urban Books, and I
Mhm.
had a couple of books in the series. Double Platinum was one of them. Oh, I can't remember the other two. I had other books in that series.
Okay.
So yeah, years and years ago.
Okay. All right. So, well, congratulations that you're still writing and still putting out material. And I'm going to go check out your songs on your website. See your
Thank you.
songwriting.
And I did a cover song for this for the book called Worth the Risk. So
Oh, okay. All right. That's amazing. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thanks for being a guest on the show. Congratulations on your book. And we'll be seeing more from you, I'm sure.
and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay. You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you for being here. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.
Okay. So, that was interesting. We got into AI and all that. That's interesting. And I didn't know she was a songwriter.
I didn't
Knowing
know
about
that
her,
either.
I had no idea about that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, really
So
cool.
yeah. So our next guest was on the show several months ago with his book called The Hellfire Effect. And he's back
Back
with us
with
again to talk
to talk
about,
about.
okay, you got
Okay,
a
you gotta
device
put
on, you got to
on,
turn your
gotta turn
device
the device
down, you
down.
got a second
Got a second
device,
device,
and you need to
and you
turn
need
the
to turn
sound down.
Okay, let's see.
Turn
turn
because I'm
because
hearing
I'm hearing
myself.
my
Just mute your Facebook.
How about now?
Well, okay. Yeah, that's
Two.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't hear myself now. So anyway, welcome back to the show, William Rogers. And when he was on the show before, we found out we had a serious hometown connection. I mean, just really amazing. Like, uh, where he actually knows my family and all that, which I didn't know before he came on the show. So that's happened a couple times. In fact, I have another guest in a couple of weeks. Oh, he has a bookstore in Petersburg, Virginia. Now, have you been to some bookstores with your book?
The only one I've been to is Barnes and Noble.
Oh, that's
Okay,
a good
so
one to
you
go
have, well,
to.
that's a good one to be in. So
Yeah.
have you done some book signings?
I've done yes, some book signings through a book club at a church. Of course, when I was there at Barnes and Noble. Um I did one at a community center up in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Um and think that and then of course at my church. Did it at my church here, First Baptist Church East End. And
Okay.
that's been pretty much the ones that I've done of any significance.
Okay. Show us a cover of your book.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so the
All right.
audience can
Hope you
see
can see
Hellfire
it.
Effect.
Put it there.
And if you all follow us on Facebook, you've seen the book there. It's probably come up on your news feed a few times. So how has the reception been to the storyline in the book, and what kind of feedback are you getting since we
Well,
talked to you last?
yes. From the last time that we spoke, I was telling you that the feedback for everyone that has responded to me, they love the book. And
Wonderful.
since that time, it's been the same response for those who've read it. And the number one question I keep getting is, are you working on the second book? We need to get the second book. And I laugh and I enjoy hearing that. And I'm just at the point where I respond to them that I need to get a little more traction with this one. So I need to get a little more people talking about it and see if we can get some more interest in it. But to the point of the second book, I have started my outline on it. And that's about all I'm gonna say. I've started my outline on it.
Well, at
But
least you started on it.
yeah, yes. But I'm trying to get to that what you call that what's it, critical mass with this one. Because
Well, if people are asking for a follow-up, that's your cue right there.
yes.
And a lot of times what happens is the second book helps the first book. That's what happened for me with my novel. I had no intentions of writing a second book, but everybody who read the first book wanted to know what happened to the main character.
Yeah.
And so I ended up writing a second book, and they both people they it's a companion, and it helps sell the first book.
All right. Okay.
So keep that in mind.
I absolutely.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I've just started working on um, taking the time and effort to release it in an audiobook, because a lot of people have said they really would love to have an audiobook version of it. And so
Mhm.
I've just now started to work with someone who will be helping me to bring that into fruition. So hopefully the audiobook will be out within a few months.
Are you
Okay.
narrating it yourself?
No, I'm not going to read it myself. I got someone else who kind of has that talent that's going to do it for me.
Well, you have a nice voice. You can
I
narrate
know.
it.
I will do one chapter. I will do one chapter, but I want to make sure that, well, we're going to test it. We're still in the planning phases. Let me go back. Let me
I'm
backtrack.
about to say that's going to be really weird if I'm listening to
Mhm.
your audiobook and then I hear your voice and then all of a sudden the voice changes to somebody else.
Come
Yeah,
on.
and Rhonda actually listens to audiobooks.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
Regularly.
I am an
Yes,
audiobook
do that.
girly.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I
That
probably
is
need
what
to
I
bring you in
do.
on this too.
Because I don't. I tried it with one book, and I'm not saying I won't ever. I just tried it once, and it wasn't for me. Maybe it was the book, but it just put me to sleep. And I like to read. It's just something about reading.
Yeah, okay.
I listen to music, but when I'm absorbing a book, I want to read the pages. But it to each his own, and that's why we have different formats, so
Exactly.
the word can spread. Now, tell the audience what your book is. What's the storyline?
Okay,
What
what
is Hellfire Effect about?
the Hellfire Effect is a twist on kind of a different perspective of what the world would be like if a kind of a mysterious phenomenon was to occur. And this mysterious phenomenon um, causes those who have created murder or who have done murder to be subjected to the hellfire effect. And it's a story of many different accounts of those who experience the hellfire effect. And then there's a self-appointed team of experts who are trying to investigate to understand what's going on. So it's in the very um, early stages of its development, but it is something that coincidentally occurred when fragments of an asteroid had crash landed on Earth. And they're trying to figure out if that asteroid had anything to do with the onset of the Hellfire effect. And one of the things that's happening within society is that crime rate, murder rates have started to decline. And so that's kind of the plot of the story is trying to understand what is this hellfire effect, and what's causing these situation where those who have committed murder eventually and soon after take their own life.
Okay, so sort of like the needle, but you still live.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
it's like capital punishment.
Yeah, but no one else is involved.
But you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
you don't actually die.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Seems
You
kind of
get like
like a
the effects
futuristic.
of getting the needle, they call
Yeah.
it. But you get the pain, but you don't die. Kind of like.
Oh, and the needle you're referring to?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying in your book, the person who's getting the hellfire effect, who's experiencing it, it's kind of like capital punishment, but you don't die.
Oh, no, they died.
Oh, they do die.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought they got the hellfire effect, and it was
Oh,
like it didn't consume you. It just like you.
It
no,
seems
no,
it
that's
seems kind
that's
of future. It seems like almost like a futuristic. I mean, I don't know. Tell me if I'm off base here, but I'm picturing almost like a I'm almost picturing like a end of the world type thing.
An apocalyptic
Yes.
situation.
well,
Something
not
like that.
not really. Not really.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just kind of imagine and just think about when we experienced COVID, what happened? There was
Hmm.
a lot of
Everybody got
panic
sick.
and a lot of research
Okay.
and a lot of studies trying to figure out how do we prevent
Right.
this? How do we stop this? It's
Okay.
kind of in that type of vein of
Okay.
a different reality that people all of a sudden starting to experience, and only those who commit murder.
Okay.
And
So did
that's
they spontaneously combust or?
no, they actually take their own life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they actually
Okay.
it's because in one of the chapters
This is kind
it's
of deep.
reported in one of the
Hmm.
chapters it's reported that the person who had committed murder and they was experiencing the hellfire effect, they shouted out, "It feels like I'm on fire. It
Okay.
feels like I'm on fire and it won't stop." And
Oh, okay. So then it leads them to commit suicide.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Now,
Okay.
regarding, I'm
I
going to
see
do a
where we're going
backtrack a
here.
little bit.
Yeah.
Regarding the audiobook concept, we had some comments, so I just want to read them to you. Uh, one person said, "Your voice is nice."
Oh, thank you.
The social book club. And she also said to your comment, Rhonda, about having a different voice, she said he would have to be a character. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I can
then,
understand you being a character, but you can't just do one chapter and then call it a day.
And I can't do okay,
no,
well, keep
that's not
talking
the
to
way
me. Keep
audiobooks
talking
work.
to me.
So, okay, King Brooks is another list viewer. He says, do it yourself. It will save you lots of money to record it yourself.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's just some feedback on audiobooks. And there are a lot of people who do them. Um, and some people do their own.
Hmm.
And so it just depends. But you do have a voice that could work for
Yep.
that.
Okay. Y'all
And
telling me
that's part
something.
of
I didn't know this.
you said you were not a minister, you're a deacon, but I see I claimed you as a minister because I just assumed that's what you were. So after you told me some other things, I thought,
Right.
okay, you're pastoring like assistant pastor or whatever. So
No,
that's
no.
what I thought. That's what I thought. So
Yeah, the
I
closest.
already had claimed it for you.
Yes, you did, didn't you? It's kind of funny you say that because it's for some years now, even when I was living in South Carolina, me and my family was living in South Carolina, we went to this other church And there was this little young fella, he kept calling me Reverend. And I was like, why does he keep calling me Reverend?
You might have that kind of persona.
Yeah, right.
Your voice is like that. So, and you have a background, uh, a technical background.
Yes, I
Okay,
do
so
have.
tell us about
Yeah,
that part and how that connects with
yeah,
your.
my technical background is in engineering. I've also worked at NASA here in Hampton, Virginia, NASA Langley Research Center. But I also have a background in organizational development and with a specialization in industrial organizational psychology. So I've done a lot of my work has been based around the technical aspects of an organization and its processes, but at the same time, I always factor in the human element of an organization being able to um, um, operate at optimal performance by just having the human element in the workforce really engaged in understanding how they impact the outcome of the work that they do.
Okay, and so that's just sounds like you focus a lot on teams, of
Mhm.
people working in teams and maximizing the outcomes.
Yeah, it's with more of a specialty with leadership, those who
Okay.
are in charge of
Oh, okay.
the
Of the
team.
team.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, did you get a advanced degree in that?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
I have
okay. It sounds like an advanced degree
a
type.
master's in industrial organizational psychology.
Okay. Wow, that's a mouthful. It's
That
Yeah,
like,
is a mouthful.
yeah.
so so to do your thesis, what did you focus on?
Uh, at that, you know what? Let me see. That was some years ago. And once I got out of that mindset, I was like, woo. Um, I think I'm really having a hard time remembering what did I do that thing on? Because it was a lot of work involved with it. Um, but I think the focus of it was on leadership. The the crux of it, dealt with the proper leadership and how to engage that within a high manufacturing organization. That's what's coming to mind. I think that's what I did. I would need to look it up to see what the title was called.
Yeah, see, I'm prompting you to go back and look at drag something out of the attic or the basement, one of your packing boxes.
Ooh, no, yeah, and I still have it too. It's in one of these
Yeah,
bags around
that's
here.
what I said. One of your file boxes or whatever, pull it out and see. Sometimes you run across things that you wrote years ago. If you're a writer, if you put
Yes,
things together,
yes.
you
Yeah,
run across.
you find it, you dust it
Mhm,
off,
yeah,
you update some of the characters, you may have to update some of the language.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you have a whole book you hadn't thought about in years.
That's right.
because
Yeah,
really, human behavior doesn't really change. It's technology that changes,
it does.
Right.
and so
Sometimes the vernacular changes a little bit.
Yes,
yes.
yes, absolutely.
But the human being, has been the same
Yeah,
for things that drive humans and things that uh, you know
yeah. And that was
focus on.
in when I was inspired to do this book, I really believe a lot of my past experience in how people respond to situations kind of prompted me to just imagine kind of a what if scenario because that's how I engage with members of leadership. I just propose a what if scenario, based on what you're already accustomed and what you typically do. What if the situation was like this? What if the situation um, involved these types of matters right here? How would you respond to it?
Hmm.
And I did a lot of that type of work with the team that I was on with NASA because we worked with a lot of, very technical people. And a lot of times you got to get them out of this one frame of thinking and to be able to go into another frame of thought to kind of get to where they're trying to go. And I think I was really taken by the news of these tragic shootings that take place. And it's the same response every time. It's we need better, stronger gun control. We need to do something. The government needs to do something. It's the same thing in responding to these heinous situations. So I was just captivated by the thought, well, what if it was something else? What would that be like? And that's
Oh,
kind of where it started the whole growth of this hellfire concept. And and I believe I shared when we first spoke and met that this was an assignment I believe from God for me, because I'm no author. I never even thought of yes, I have done one other book, but it was more of a self-help book. But this fiction here was something that was really a stretch for me. And I have been so pleased with the response for those who read it. They are so, they just don't have enough time to really talk about more what they read. And then, like I said, the main thing they want to know is, when is the next book coming out? Because we want to know what caused this problem.
yeah,
We
Well,
want to know.
it's a really creative take. I mean, I understand the inspiration, but it's a very creative take in how you wanted to approach this thought that you had.
Mhm.
So I mean, so what inspired that creative take? I mean, to feel the burn and to wind up killing yourself because of the burning feeling. I mean, because I don't know if that's something I would have just thought of like right off the cuff like that.
Yeah, well, it was a matter, it was really, it took a lot of thought. And like I say, something just manifested that to me one night, because like I say, it was, my subconscious and everything was thinking about it. And it was like you say, in the quiet, the midnight and me half sleep or something like that. It just came and it was like hellfire. And I
Mm-hmm.
just really investigated that a little more to say, well, what would that be like? And the next thing I know, I just had this whole thought process. What if there was in the world an experience, and this was shortly after COVID, because we all was afraid. Where did COVID come from? How did
Right.
this
yeah.
how did this happen? We can't see it. We don't know where it's coming from. And I kind of use some of that type of news reports to say, well, I'm going to use my creative capabilities to just kind of, change it to the way I want to see it in this scenario, in these scenarios.
Looking back, COVID was, it would be hard to describe to someone who wasn't an adult, at least, well, mature
Right.
during
Mhm.
Right.
those years. If like 10 years from now, trying to describe it to somebody, they wouldn't believe it.
Right.
Because it was worldwide and it was like worldwide panic for a good number of months.
Yeah. And I borrowed that too, because in this book, the stories occur across around the world.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So
So
it's not just here in one
it's not just here.
location, it's around the world.
Okay. All right. So how did you decide which places in the world to
Well, there's some
put it?
biblical references, and
Okay.
like I will share that the two locations that the two asteroid fragments crashed, one was in Mount Sinai, near Mount Sinai, and the other one was in a location called Bethel, and Bethel was referenced in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that was one of my I'm gonna throw that little hint in there just to see if people pick up on it. Well, I probably done told it now, but but there are other things as well that are referenced in it that have have a faith-based origin.
Okay. Now the book doesn't seem to be that thick.
No, it's not. It's a quick read, and
Okay.
I had one of my first readers. They got the book on a Saturday about 5:30, and they called me at 9 o'clock. They had finished reading it,
Oh, okay. So
and
people
they
can
couldn't
read it
say enough about that book.
one sitting. You do have some really good reviews on Amazon. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like a
Just
solid
need
9.
more. Just need more.
Well, we all need more.
We all
We
need more.
all of us who are authors need more reviews, more good ones.
More good ones. That's right.
Well, you know what? My
But
thing is, even if I have a bad review, I just want it to be a substantial bad review. Don't just give me 1 star and then drive by, leave
do
me with 1 star,
a drive
and then
by
keep on going.
1 star. Yeah, those are I hate those people.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
I
don't
have,
get not many of
yeah.
them, but
You
it's
know what?
random.
I've only gotten 1 star once in my life, and that wasn't even, I don't even consider that a 1 star review because you could tell that the person didn't really read the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was somebody who went through giving 1 stars to everybody
Yeah.
who
Because
didn't like somebody.
you can
Yeah.
check to see a person's review record
Right. And
and
this was
see
a
if
person
they're
who went
just
through giving a whole bunch of different people 1 star. So they were being a real hater.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
count that as a real bad review. I think the worst I've ever gotten was 3 stars.
mhm.
Hmm.
And I don't really consider that a bad review. Three
Right.
stars is an okay review. But yeah,
I hate
and
the
even
three
then,
stars that say I really enjoyed reading it. Then you give me 3 stars. What?
that yeah, I'm like, okay, well, what? Make up your mind.
Yeah. Okay, then why you only giving me 3 stars? And
Yeah.
one time the person who did that was my neighbor. He was
Oh
my
my.
neighbor. I was really, really upset.
And
I'm like, why? Why did you do it? Anyway, I don't know if you knew about that, William, that you can go and look and see if people, well, the reviews people post, you can go look and see other reviews that they post.
that they, yes, I think I have checked it, looked into that.
Yeah, if you got
And
5 stars, it's probably not as relevant. But if it's somebody that gives you a low rating, that I do check them, like Rhonda said. If they
yeah,
gave
and
me, I rarely get one, but um every now and then I get one.
well,
And I
I,
don't like it anytime.
yeah. Well, I share with you, just to kind of, get a full, perspective from readers. I've yet to encounter anyone who had anything critical to say. Those who read the book, no one
Okay.
hadn't said anything
Hmm.
like, well, WJ. I think it would have been a little bit more better if you had done. No one I've gotten anything like that, and that, I'm glad, and I hope it can remain that way. But I would respect the feedback, if there was such type of critique that someone wanted to share. But I've been really happy with what I've heard, and it's all been the same. And it's just a matter of just trying to get more people to read it. And so, um,
So do you have a title for your second book yet?
well, I'm not ready to share that yet, but I
Okay.
do.
Okay. All right. Well, some people don't do their titles until like they finish writing. Up there, it's up in the air.
Yeah, no,
And
this one jumped
people have
right
different.
out. This one
Oh,
jumped
okay.
right out. It jumped. This is your next title.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I always start with my titles. I can't, I mean, I have to have a title to even start writing. So for me, I have to have the title of my book because that
I,
drives the whole process of writing. But some people, especially with fiction or even with nonfiction, you can change your title too. Um, but I don't
well,
change my titles.
well,
If
let
I'm
me
committed to it, I'm committed to it.
let me tell you this is, like I said, back last month I was, a book club out of Detroit invited me to speak with them, uh, and one of the readers she said that I got to tell you, you wouldn't believe this. She said she was reading the book and she was telling one of her children, I think it was one of her children or relatives, about the book. And the way she was explaining it, and based on the title, I don't think the person she was speaking to realized it was a book. All she kept saying was, "Where is that movie playing? I want to go see it. Where is that movie playing?"
Well, that's okay. That's a good way to end it. We're waiting on the movie for Hellfire Effect. So
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
anyway,
ma'am.
we're at the end of our time. So thank you so much for coming back and giving us an update on the book.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on getting started on part 2.
Thank
And
you.
just set a goal so you can, so it won't just go on and on.
Oh
So
no,
you
that's not
finish.
going. And that's one
Okay.
of the things I commit and I get things done.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Nice,
So
nice spending
anyway,
time with both of you.
same here.
And the same to you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Y'all take care and Happy New Year.
And the
Same to
same
you.
to
Happy
you.
New
Yeah.
Year to you.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Okay, so we have one more interview. And again, this is a guest that's no stranger to the show or the book world. And Jewell Parker Rhodes has been on the show and she's published multiple books. And she was with us when we did the virtual book festival during COVID, as I recall. So, Jewell, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you very much. I'm
Okay,
excited.
okay, okay. I always like your picture with you and your dog. I think this is really, really a cute picture.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my two little dogs died,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
I have a new. I know they were half sisters, and actually, for my last book, though one just passed away in December, I made it a point of I wanted to show those pictures because so many kids love those pictures of those dogs, and they were with me all the time when I wrote my books, and so that was to honor them to say these are my babies, these are ones who helped make this book. So anyway, but I miss them and dogs are so special. I mean, it's kind of like there are wonders and mysteries in this world, and I think reading books is one of them that it can open you up into a whole different spiritual realm and in a bigger life. And I also think our animals, especially, the pets and that we care for, do the very, very same thing. So, though there's a time for everything, a season to everything, I am gloriously grateful for my writing, glorious grateful for my dogs who helped me write, gloriously grateful for still being here.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about your dog pets,
Yeah,
but
me too.
you are
Thank
correct
you.
that animal pets do provide us a different they're not like humans.
And they're better, I think.
I, there we have a cat, and now we're a cat family, but
Hmm.
we have a dog, and I never had a dog growing up ever in my life. My parents wouldn't let us have pets. I always was attracted to cats. So a cat would always come in our yard. You know how some people just draw animals to them?
Hmm.
But the dog that we have, my landscaper left the back gate open when he was cutting the grass. And the
Oh,
dog came into our backyard with no collar
okay.
and kind of skittish and very shy. I don't know if she had been abused or anything. And it took a while before one that she would even come toward us. We would put food out, but she would
Yeah.
wait until we went inside to eat it. And then she didn't bark. We didn't hear her bark until somebody came to the fence and she barked. And I said, "Oh, she can bark." Wondering,
You didn't
dogs
know.
don't really bark. And that was 6 years ago.
Oh,
So
that's
we've
a
had her for 6 years. She
that's a
was a
beautiful.
full-grown dog, but she's not a big dog. So we didn't know
Yeah.
she was full grown or not when we got her, but she hasn't grown any. But I named her Daisy after my mother because I didn't have
Oh.
any other names in my mind. So
Oh, I think that's so wonderful. I mean, especially, you saved, an adult dog, you did a rescue, and I
yeah,
think that
Yeah.
that's just beautiful. I know lots of times, kids will ask me, as a matter of fact, just last week, a group of kids asked me, "Are you a dog or cat person?" And I said, "Well, actually, we've had both, and we could talk about the boa constrictor, we could talk about the hamster, we could talk about the fish. But in all my novels, there's actually always an animal, so that's been from the very beginning. And generally speaking, those animals are kind of modeled after dogs that have been important, that are animals that have been important in my life. And actually, in the Ghost Boys, the graphic novel, it's not so much that there's a main character animal. But when Jerome as a ghost is wandering the streets of Chicago, it's the animals who recognize that he's from the spirit world, that they sense that he's there. And to me, that's sort of like what animals are able to do. Like we even had dogs during the Northridge earthquake, and I swear to you that those dogs knew something was coming days before we did. That they just sensed it and knew. And so their intelligence is really just amazing. But I love animals.
you had a
Yeah,
boa
animals
constrictor.
animals do have an intelligence that
Yes.
adults that humans don't have.
Yes,
They do.
yes,
They do.
yes. And if you start reading the whole lineage from wolves to dogs and their whole evolution, and I just read a study where they're looking for dogs who apparently can label things like, this is the duck, this is the ball, and knows what to go in the room and get. But they've also been testing them to see whether or not do you have to teach them that? And it turns out some of them just overhear a conversation. So you and I could be talking about, grapefruit, grapefruit, grapefruit. And I say, here, take my grapefruit. And apparently some dogs will then know that that's a grapefruit. So they're listening to us too.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
give
I
Daisy a
mean,
hug for me.
I will do that. I will do that. And she's we had her outdoors. We never brought her in
Mhm.
um for 4 years.
Yeah.
She was never inside. And we don't have our winters are mild. And when we
Mhm.
have cold weather, we would have a heater out there and a heating thing in her house. But we had a hurricane. And so I brought her in because of
Aw.
the hurricane. And she didn't do anything. I put down a tarp and in case she did something, she didn't do anything. And then when the hurricane, when the eye passed and all that, it was still raining. I took her outside and she went to the bathroom. I said, whoever had her those years ago, they
They
trained
taught her.
her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now since then we bring her in at night. We let her be
Aw.
outside during the day and we bring her in at
Oh,
night.
that's very, very sweet. Very, very
Yeah, I mean it's
sweet.
just, but I never had a dog before because my parents wouldn't. My mom said it would be more work for her, that's, which was true. But we didn't have it. So I'm glad I brought up your dogs. I just the picture with you with your dogs is just so beautiful. Was that like a set? Was that something you did at home and it just turned out to be a beautiful picture, or
Oh,
was that like a photographer that came to take the picture?
yes, the photographer. Actually, I was living in an apartment in California, in Menlo Park, California, and he came and he took the picture. And the neat thing is that we were down on the lawn furniture near the pool, and you know how they make it look like a resort. And it's so funny because one of the dogs is looking straight at the camera. That's Gergie, and the other one is looking up at me, and it just came out perfect. So I'm
Mm.
actually very thankful that I have those pictures and many more of my own. But that's sort of like, yes, we were the writing team. Yes.
Yeah, that's
We were
great.
the sisterhood, the two sister dogs and me. We were the sisterhood.
Okay. And then I don't know if you heard her say she had a boa constrictor, Rhonda. Um,
Yeah.
I don't find that I don't like snakes.
I don't like them either. I don't like them
Yeah,
either.
I'm not much of a snake person myself.
You know, it's well, you know how everything in life brings you material for your writing. And my son, wanted this boa constrictor, and I didn't know that you were supposed to feed them rats. And so we went through, all of that and what have you. But one day it got sick. I think that somehow it didn't digest its rat or who knows what, and it died.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, it smelled so bad. Oh my God. And I was typical, Jewel got on the phone, told my husband, you better get home now. Get this boa constrictor out of my house. So that's sort of like generally I'm sort of like I can deal with things, but I could not deal with that. And
oh,
my husband knows that if I ever say that to him, it really is serious. But usually it's about, people or loved ones. But this time it was about this, it was a huge thing,
yeah, they're
huge.
big. They're
Yeah. And
big.
it's
I've only
like,
seen them in like the zoo in a
yes.
glass behind glass,
Oh,
and
it's
they are huge,
awful.
huge.
It was
Or in a
awful.
movie, in a movie.
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
but but in person, it's a big
It is a
snake.
big animal. It is a big animal.
It's
And my
it's
dear one came and got rid of that. So we never had any more snakes, thank God.
oh
We
well.
were the kind of parents who tended to say, and still are, yes, then or why not? Then no. And
I'm glad.
it certainly
I'm
got us
glad.
into trouble a
I'm
lot of
glad.
times.
I'm
Huh?
glad that none of the kids wanted a snake. Although we had a flying squirrel one time.
Oh, really?
It was in a cage, and I have a strong phobia against rodents of any kind, no matter what size. They can be tiny or whatever. So, me and mice or rat, it's a no. It's a non-starter. It's no go. So the squirrel got out. The squirrel looked like a rat with a
With
tail,
wings.
big
Yeah.
squirrel tail and wings. The squirrel got out and it like left on my back, and I was on the bed like kicking, get it out, get it out, get it out.
I'm
my
trying to find
my
a happy face to put in front of me.
my my stepson, my
I hear
stepson
you.
squirrel, flying squirrel, and then they are prone to having heart attacks. Those flying squirrels when they're
I did
caged.
not know that.
So it had a heart attack and died. I won't say I was sad, but
That's
they're
hilarious.
kind of different animal, but that it's too close. It's too close to a rodent. I like
Mhm.
me and any kind of
Oh
rodent.
my
No,
goodness.
no,
I'm
no.
gonna cry.
Anyway,
So Joel, about that book.
Ghost Boys book where the animals are in tune to what he's doing. Now, this was already a book before, wasn't it? And then
It
they
was,
made it the graphic novel.
yes. So it was published originally, I think, in 2018 as a novel.
Okay.
And it's done very, very well. Students all over the world, people all over the world read that book.
Hmm.
And so I'm very thankful and very, very grateful. But I did start asking for a graphic novel because I noticed that there were a lot of authors who their books were like paperback, hardcover paperback graphic novel. And I
Okay.
said, I want one too. And it actually took a while for me to sort of persuade my publisher or for my publisher to persuade itself that, yeah, we're going to make a graphic novel. I think they were late to starting up a graphic novels division. And so the editor, Andrea Colvin, selected it to do a graphic novel. And Theodore Fitzgibbon, who's from Africa, we selected him out of numerous drawers and illustrators. And it was like from the get-go, I felt as though we were in sync. That I felt as though he wasn't interested in sensationalizing the death of, Black children. He was interested in finding the emotional truth in the heart of the stories. He didn't draw, characters Black or white, but mainly for me, Black characters who then resembled a stereotype because I've had that happen too and have had to say no, we're not using those pictures. So we were like a perfect match, but we started this in the pandemic. So you think how long it has been. It's been over 5 years, him, drawing and illustrating the book. And I really feel as though I met my co-equal, that I can write a good book, right? And then you always hope that whoever translates it or whoever does a graphic novel of it will also have the same kind of standards that you have. And I've got to say that Cedar and I we're really co-equals. And I think the result is for readers is that they get the best of two artistic genres. They get my writing, plus they get this incredibly talented man who can color and draw and demonstrate and just show. So when I was reading the graphic novel, I cried twice. And I already know
Oh,
the story, but I cried because that dimension of the visual that he added such another knowing element, and he also added nuances that I could suggest or infer them in my writing, but the moment you say it, then it becomes didactic, so the way in which in a glance or look, a pose, he got so much texture. So I'm just pleased beyond measure that Ghost Boys, the graphic novel, is rocking my world at least. Yes, see, isn't that
So,
pretty?
show us some of the inside so we can
Oh,
yes.
get a taste of.
well, okay, okay. Well, this is part of when the boys are playing around with the toy gun and trying to keep themselves from being bullied.
Well,
Um,
first of
Okay.
all, this is a serious
Yes.
graphic novel.
yes,
Yes.
it
This
is.
is
It
a
is.
novel.
Yeah.
It's yes, yes, and it's very thick, and it also still alternates like the real novel does between alive and dead. So you get to see Jerome and his family when he's alive, but you also get to see the after effects of what his death meant to the family. So there are a lot of books will sometimes will say so and so, well, it's not just books. It's like what we're even doing now to the young woman who was shot in the face in Minnesota. It's sort of like we don't have the context, though we're starting to get some of it now for the life that she lived. So sometimes in novels, so somebody will die and everybody else will get enlightened, but you don't have a context for the life that the person who was murdered lived. And so I really wanted my character Jerome as a 12-year-old boy not to be a prop. So by alternating between dead and alive, you see the impact he had on the living. You see the impact he has on the living even as he's dead. You see him as a character who develops and grows and becomes like Emmett Till, like the ghosts of Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Laquan McDonald, spirits that are existing still to remind the living that we need to do better, that we need to make sure that another child is not criminalized, and shot dead. But this is like the very first picture in the book where it starts out with Jerome having been shot by the police officers and he's laid out flat on the ground, and his mother is going to run towards him saying, Ma, Ma, and the police are going to say, stay back, stay back. And that's when, Jerome rises as a ghost. What I really like too is also, and we talked about it, the ending, because here is Jerome
Wow.
dead. And so eventually in the story, he gets to tell what really happened to him. So we don't quite know the steps. So about two-thirds into the story, he talks about what happens to him, that he was shot dead. But also here, it's like at the end of the novel, it's basically his spirit rises. My spirit rises, he says. And that's kind of typical of the work that I do too, that I tackle hard subjects, but I never leave people, I think, or I never try to leave them in despair or hopelessness. In particular, I want people to have that sense of agency. So the irony, not the irony, but it's interesting to me that even the dead have agency. Like when I think of my dead grandmother, I'm reminded so much about how I should be trying to live my life. Jerome is reminding as a ghost people that, you can't undo the wrong, but you can do your best to make things better. And so that sense of when he rises after helping the living also rise in the face of, wanting to exert social justice and exert change in society, you feel that sense of agency, not only for the dead as reminders for how we should live, but also the living who make decisions that I am going to do better. So I really love that picture. And the first time when we saw the drawings, it didn't quite have that uplift, or like I call it the Maya Angelou uplift, because she, and still I rise kind of a
Yeah.
response. And that's that feeling that comes from our culture, that we got right in this graphic novel version, and still I rise.
Now, what gave you the original idea for the book when you
Good
first, not
question.
not the graphic
But just the
novel,
book,
but the
yes.
original story?
Well, Gwen, I think we've talked about before how generally I always just write what I want to write, and then if it gets published, woo, if it doesn't, I'm still going to write it anyway. But anyway, but this book, I was walking at the Little Brown offices, and my editor, Alvina Ling, and I were going down the halls, and I had talked about overtime, things that were going on with my son because he was in New York for college, and there was a lot of racial profiling going on. And it was after, the series of deaths of the young black men, that wave there. Uh, um, and she said to me, Jewel, did you ever feel want to write about, the murdering of young black boys? And I just stopped in my tracks and I said, no, I'm not going to write about that. And I talked to my family, you know what she said? And she said, no. And I said, no, you're not going to write about that. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought how I was maybe in some ways a little bit uniquely qualified to write about it because of my history. And I am an historical novelist. I was a child when Emmett Till was murdered. I remember seeing him in his casket. I remember, hearing his mom on TV saying, I want the whole world to see what they've done to my boy. And those images, which I was far too young to see, but in those days, there were a lot of things that Black families would do because they wanted to wake us up to the hardships that we might endure in the world. But I would say I was too young because that image has haunted me all my life, all literally, that it's like anything that would remind me of it, even as a 60-year-old, would still like freak me out, that it would just bring me to tears. And I also felt that I've been practicing for such a long time as an adult novelist to become a good writer. And then as an adult novelist to become a good writer so I could do what I really wanted to do, write for young people. That I thought, well, if I don't try, then what's the point? Of course it's going to be a hard book, but I like to do hard things. And somebody who's been writing as long as I have, why shouldn't I go ahead and try to do the hard thing? Our children deserve it. So a lot of things about giving the talk, some of it will get pushed to like later ages. But we know the young ones need to know it too. But they also need to know and understand the complexity and the differences between straight out racism and also racial bias, because both things will affect their lives and they're different and they need to understand the nuances and how to respond, who's educable and maybe who's not.
Right.
So I said to my editor, I'll write it, but if I don't get it right, we're just simply not going to publish it. You can take the money back.
Oh,
And
Mm.
I
that
actually
was
wrote it.
okay. You were really confident, or
Yes.
in what you were doing.
No, actually, no, I would say it's perhaps the other way. I did not know I could do this book. I was not confident, but I do believe a lot in my legacy. That it's like if people, and I always say I don't write for money. We all want to get paid for the work we do. But what I mean by that really is that I don't want to sacrifice my legacy, my reputation for something that's, not up to my standards, that's then going to be out in the world. I don't deserve that. Children don't deserve that. And I think when I wrote my very, very first novel, an adult novel, Voodoo Dreams, I was on book tour and I was following behind another author. And I would always get these questions of like, well, did they push you to hurry up and finish it? And did they do this and do this? Were you happy with the ending? And it turns out, as I started piecing it together, is that it was a lament of the author ahead of me that she had felt rushed, she had felt pushed, and she was not happy with her ending. And
Oh,
that kind of like made me feel how sad that you would then publish a book and then tell people, well, excuse me, this wasn't what I really wanted. But publishers can do that, and particularly in those days when, because we're going back 40 some years, when it was so difficult to get published as a writer of color, so difficult that there's a sensibility that when you're young, oh, I'll do whatever you want, or yeah, oh, I'm so grateful to you, oh, you're publishing me. And even that, some of that stuff still goes on today. And I caution everybody, publisher isn't the one that's going to take the hits if the book isn't good. It's going to be you. And then the next thing you know, they're going to say, oh, we can't publish any more of your books because it didn't win awards. It wasn't a good book.
Right,
Didn't get good
right.
reviews, and it didn't sell. And so, because of that first experience, I thought like that really strengthened my resolve. So it would be no a book that anybody would say this is not a good Jewell Parker Rhodes book. So I tell people if you see my book on the shelf, that means I did as much as I thought I could do. I gave it my best, and it means I'm often late with getting my books turned in. So publishers also have this timeline, and I understand it. It's part of a business model, and I'm thankful that because of writing what I want to write generally, except when I get good advice from some editor, and then taking my time to do it the best that I can, that I've been successful enough, that it's kind of like they'll get it when it's ready, and I'm really thankful for that because that pressure of, Jewell, when's it ready? When's it ready? It has stopped in this latter part of my career. They know that when they get it, because, now, especially for children's, I think I have 7 books and they're all good and they've all done well. So they all right, whenever we get it, and I really appreciate that. But I feel as though that was what I earned, the time and the sort of the cultural support for doing what I think is best to represent my African American culture.
and
Beautiful.
then
Thank you
you've
so
written with
much
your
for
daughter
sharing that.
too.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You've written with your daughter also.
Oh yeah, my daughter. Yeah, but she's a complete Kelly McWilliams. Who we did
Right.
that Soul Step, the picture book together.
I
Right.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, do you remember how I said I was going to give Little Brown back the money? Because I said I wanted to do a picture book, but writing picture books is hard. So all props to all of you who write picture books. And so I told Kelly, well, I'm going to give them back the money. And she's like, a mama with a 3-year-old, and she says, oh no, mama, we're not giving back the money. But I tell you, that book would not have been finished if I hadn't had her grace. And she can write YA, though she has an adult novel coming out called American Nightmare about, the NAACP and when it used to have spies, to do the undercover work for lynching and the anti-lynching campaign. It's a really good book. So she's really happy about that. But she writes YA and adult. And I guess my thing is I write, middle grade and adult. And though we did a picture book together, all props go to my daughter and that wonderful illustrator who who actually was herself a young college. She just graduated from college, and she was just absolutely superb. Anyway,
Well,
so the young people.
I just want to thank you for sharing what you shared with us because I think it's something that a lot of the authors who are on this call need to hear. And one thing is that you earned the right to be able to say what you said. And I know there are a lot of newer authors who will try to take the same stance that you took, but you earned the right to be able to say that. And so that's a message that I want them to say. You
Oh,
got to earn
I,
your stripes to be able to say what
Yeah.
you say.
You paid your
yes, I
dues.
do. Though I've got to tell you, Tiari Jones was one of my students, and I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
proud of her. Yes, she was. She came to Arizona to work with me, and others at the creative writing program at ASU. And she was actually in my kitchen when she was getting offers for her first book, Leaving Atlanta. And there was one publisher who said, this is a YA novel. It's not an adult novel. And what I admired about her, and this would have been her first book, is that basically she said no, that she was not willing to let it be published as an item that she didn't think it was. And she held her
Hmm.
guns and said, no, this is adult novel. So I have perhaps maybe earned some stripes, but I would also say, young people, if you can, be like Tiari, because this was like, here's the first book, here's an offer, and she stuck to her guns. No, this is what my book is. And of course, she's gone on to a successful career. So you need to listen to critics and you need to listen to other input and stuff like that. But you need to know, you need to have that ability to keep steering yourself too.
Yeah.
And stop being so grateful. I mean, if you think about
Yeah,
it,
you don't have to take every crumb that they offer you.
yeah, because if you think about it, without you doing your
You
work,
do.
they wouldn't even have an industry. Do
They
you know what I
do.
mean? Everybody's taking from our intellectual property. So
Right.
sometimes we don't feel our power, and we should feel our power more. But I would also say there's there's a difference between advances, whether you get a big advance or a
Hmm.
small advance, okay? And a lot of young people want the big advance. And the big advance, so let's say they give you $500,000, right? And if you don't sell anywhere near that amount, I can guarantee you, not unless you had a do book contract, you're not publishing another. Okay. Or if you had a two-book contract, they might will go ahead and publish that second one, but don't do anything necessarily to market it. It's really,
Right.
it still is the numbers game. And
Hmm.
so one of the things, and I'm I do make a lot of money, okay? But particularly, I took the approach that, if I want to be paid something that I know that I can sell, so that all my books have earned royalties. I don't have a single book that has an unearned advance, and we're talking about like 18 or so books. And that's what gets you the contracts year after year after year. That not only did the publisher get their money back, but they got back all the money that they paid me. And then for 30 years, even Voodoo Dreams, my first novel, I'm still getting royalty checks. So I rather bet on the long term than to say,
Yes.
I'm going to be a millionaire. And the best example that I have of this is not a black author, but there was a guy who wrote a thing about it was a novel called Meg, and it was about like some kind of like giant eating shark or something like
They made
that.
a movie out of it, or two.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Well, and I might have the book wrong. Just give me a 2 cents in case my memories aren't right. But I think that was the
No,
name of
it
the
is
book.
Meg.
And I remember they would cite in the newspapers the prose and talk about how bad this book was, and maybe he got the movie made, but the book itself did not do well at all, and you never heard from that person again. Or as just as a Black author, you've read wonderful authors because we have a wonderful, talented group of people in our community. And then there's some that you never hear from again. So you maybe read one book, two book, three books, and then they disappear. And you got to find out why. I mean, that sense of why. And a lot of it has to do with also, playing that sense of, I earn out. So you will never lose money on a Jewell Parker Rhodes book. And that's what's really sad. So I think sometimes I will actually go and talk to my editors and say, okay, well, what's your strategy? What's your advice? Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to take it. And I remember Little Brown developed a strategy that they said, we're going to build you. Ninth Ward came out of gates flying. And then, the next book and the next two books did okay, but not great, but they still earned out. And then I hit it again with Towers Falling. And so it's sort of like building up. And after Towers Falling, they said, okay, we're going to take you to the next level. But it took me for middle grade 4 books that had all paid back the advance, and made the money to get to the point where they were always working for me, and I love Little Brown Hachette books, it's called, for the bigger organization, but where they also then pivoted. So it pays attention to listen to this sometimes. Because I remember my second novel for them, I was going to do a YA book or do like a Revolutionary War book, and they said, "No, Jewel, we don't. You can do that later. Don't do that now. Keep with." The Louisiana Girls trilogy. Let's build on that. And then I remember that after they sort of figured out what I could do best, it was another book that I would never thought of doing was Towers Falling about 9/11. Another editor said to me, you should maybe think about doing a 9/11 book. And it's like, what? No, 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 no. But what I discovered is that they were learning what my strength was. And my strength is that I can take Hurricane Katrina, I can take the BP oil spill, I can take horrendous real life events, historical or somewhat contemporary, and make it so that a child learns and also feels emboldened and like stronger and hopeful by the time they get to the end. So when they figured that out about me,
We're past our time.
oh, I'm so sorry. I'm
That's
so
okay.
sorry.
I
But
was
anyway,
trying
This
ask
is
your
good
publisher.
information. I was taking it in.
Yeah, take advice, take advice. And Black authors out there, I love you very much. It is a hard road, and we're all working towards it for each other. Find yourself a mentor, and pay. It's not getting it published. It's how long you last. That's what our
Yes.
community needs. And people like Virginia Hamilton and Mildred Taylor, I want to be like them. That's
okay.
all.
Well, that's a good way to end it. And we're way past our time. So
Oh,
anyway,
wow.
Jewel, thank you so much because you've given us a lot to learn, and we appreciate you so much. And
I appreciate
congratulations on
you.
the new novel, the graphic novel.
Thank
All
you. Bye bye.
right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, thank you all for hanging with us a little over time, but it was well worth it. She gave us some real nuggets of wisdom. So
Absolutely.
we're signing off for tonight. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.